What's up all you Flux Automators, and in this video I'm going to be talking about the new RS4 Mini from DJI. I'll be breaking down the usual, covering all the pros and cons, but first of all I want to show you how it works and where it doesn't work in some cases. Now DJI have been killing it for a while and they're killing it once again with this banger, and I gotta say I'm really interested and really excited to show you guys exactly what this does and what it can do for you. So at the end of this video, if you decide to buy this product, make sure you use the link in the description and purchase from there because it helps out the channel so I can buy more kit to bring more reviews for you. So with that said, this is a product that is bought by myself, wasn't given to me by DJI, so I'm going to give you my 100% honest opinion about how great this works and if you should spend your hard-earned money on this or if you should save it for something else. So first of all, let's get into some of the specs of this lovely device. So first things first is it weighs only 890 grams and supports up to 2 kilograms in weight. Now, most of you out there are not going to exceed that, but if you do, because you add a lot of bits and pieces and gadgets and gizmos and accessories to your camera, then you might need to look at the RS4 or the RS4 Pro to give you that extra support. So for me, as you can see right now, I have a basic setup. I have a 17 to 28 millimeter Tamron lens on here, which is quite weighty in itself, but it's not that heavy. Now, if I was to add multiple accessories to this, it would add a bit more. Now, I'm sure most likely I'm not going to reach that 2 kilogram weight, and there's probably a lot of you out there that are not going to exceed that, so this might be a good selection for you. Now, DJI have brought the auto locking system to the RS4 Mini. You can previously see an RS4 and RS4 Pro, but now they've brought it to the Mini and I am loving this. It just makes it more flexible and easy to use. So when you're ready to shoot, you just hit that power button and it moves into place. And then when you're finished, you can either lock it in that position or you can let it flip down and make it more manageable and easy to move around with. So no need to be releasing all the axes and then trying to get them in place. You just press the button and you're ready to go. Now, in addition to this, we have the ability to switch it from horizontal to vertical. So right now you can see I have it in a vertical position as if I was ready to do something for social media like Instagram or TikTok. So it makes it real easy to go from landscape to portrait. So just like that, I can switch it up and have it back into landscape. Now, another thing about this when you're switching it up is that we have this Teflon coating that is on the arms and it just allows it to smoothly move into place. I'm not going to say it's going to make it the easiest, but it's going to make it much better than previous models. So if you've ever used any of the other gimbals, sometimes when you're moving it back and forth, it can do a lot of juddering, trying to get it into place. And it just makes it a little bit that much more complicated just to get things on track. But with this, it just makes it just a little bit more easy and smoother to get up and running. So in addition to the smooth coating, we have this smooth adjustment base plate wheel, which enables you to dial in exactly the balance on the camera, which makes that even quicker. Would be nice if there was something like that on the other axes, but you know, you're not gonna get everything that you want straight away. Maybe something like that is coming up in the future. The benefits of that is that you can slide back and forth on the axis and just to get the balance of the camera with the lens. Now getting to the point of what you've been all waiting for is this thing right here. So this is the intelligent tracking AI module camera. Okay, so this is new to the RS4 range. Now this was released as a combo for the RS4 Mini, but you also can use it on the RS4 and RS4 Pro with an adapter, which gives you the same type of functionality, but on a bigger gimbal. Now the intelligence tracking is something that's going to probably bring a lot of people from the RS3 to the RS4 to get that additional functionality. And I've been doing some testing with it, which you'll see later on in the video. So make sure you stick around so you can see exactly how it works and where it doesn't work and where DJI could be improving it. And as you know, DJI are always improving their tech when they release something. So I'm sure they've got a lot of things up their sleeve ready to release for this. Now there are some pros and cons to this AI tracking module, but I will cover that at the end of the video, wrapping it up with a conclusion. So before we go more in depth, I just want to let you know who this product is for. Now you got the RS4 and RS4 Pro, which are made for the professionals, and this is supposed to be for the vlogger, semi-pro, you know, the creator, the run and gun shooter. Now, if you are a professional, I'm not saying that this is something that you can't add. I'm saying something that you definitely can add. Now, there are a few pieces that might restrict you from wanting to purchase this, which I'll go over later on. But for now, that is an introduction to this. Let's get out and test it, and I'll show you exactly how it works. And you can make that decision for you if you want to purchase this, or if you want to go for the RS4 or the RS4 Pro and spend that extra money.
So right now, I'm thinking that it's tracking me very well. Let's try and put it up higher, like this. And then now it's like, trying to see if it tracks still. And it seems to be doing an okay job if I'm walking straight. Let's turn a little bit. Let's turn again. Okay, so it seems you have to have quite a high optimal position. I'm gonna pull this down a little bit. Okay, so it's like you gotta be looking it dead in the eye. If you're not, then it seems as though that's when you have problems. So you gotta be up straight, looking dead in the eye of the camera. So then you can turn it and it's gonna follow you then. Okay, so if I try and turn it and put it down, okay, now it's lost me. Okay, so that is the reason you have to have the camera right in front of you, which if you're not used to that, can be a bit of a pain because you're carrying this tripod all the way up in front of you. So having the strength in your arms to maintain this is going to be something you're going to have to get in the gym for. But yeah, so I'm realizing now is you have to have it at eye level. If it's not at eye level, then you're going to have some problems. It's not going to continuously track you, whether you can switch hands from time to time. Because sometimes you might not have, you know, the strength or even the want to have camera right up here in your vision, especially when you're out and about vlogging. But I'm guessing this is probably the best position to have your camera, to be honest, when you are vlogging. So yeah, that's one point to add in there. You have to make sure if you're doing any vlogging that your camera is right at eye level, so it understands that who you are and what you are, and stops it from going off and trying to focus on anything else. So hopefully this test is looking good on screen. I'm telling you right now, it's got my hand and my arm very worked up. I'm drudging through snow right now, so good representation to see how it looks, how sturdy it looks on screen. If you bring it down here, it's gonna lose you. Even if you try and get it back, it's just gonna go off track and just do some random stuff. Okay, so I think that is it. Then let's move on to the next test, which is how it manages with multiple people being around and about, and see if we can track that person without losing them. Oh, before we do that, let's check if the glasses actually cause any issues. So let's put the glasses back on and let's walk with the glasses on. Okay, yeah, so there's no issues there. You can still tell it's my face and it's tracking me quite well. but I think that is where we start because my arm is aching and this thing keeps losing that thing. So one problem after the next, but I'm sure with technology, we'll get to the point where we don't have to have all these cameras. Come on, DJI, bring out your 360 camera and send it to me for a review.
Okay, so now we're out on location and I'm doing some filming to see how well the gimbal actually works in terms of tracking and also the stabilization. So I'm walking backwards now. So even docking down low while you're tracking your subject is something that you might want to do, and being aware of what's around you, especially right now because it's snowy, the ground is very slippery. So having that tracking enables me to focus on where I'm going and I'm still tracking the subject. Now even tracking the person as you're walking forward and you have the camera pointed at your subject from the side, as you can see, it works really well. Now this is an example of the subject just walking straight past and the tracking is capturing them from start to finish. And I think this is really one of the coolest things about this is at this point, I don't even have to turn my body around. So this is one of the great shots when you pull into somebody. Sometimes you don't want to have it really shaky, but in this scene, you can see once you've got the person tracked in the position that you want, you can just walk straight up to them or walk away from them, and it works superbly. Now, one of the things you might be thinking about is how far can you track with this intelligence tracking? So in this example, I'm going to walk all the way out to that vehicle and I'm going to do a zigzag motion to see how well it actually keeps track of me. Before I was more in the middle of the shot, but now I'm going further up the shot, which is still really cool because you don't really want to have the sky all in the shot. So as I'm walking over to this vehicle right now, this is where it starts to lose me. But as you can see, it's quite a distance away, from the camera. And in this point, I'm coming back to see where it catches back onto me. And at least when you leave the shot and you come back in, it still knows it's you and will continue to track you. Now with this testing, we decided to go inside and I had a group of my friends around. And what we decided to do is get one person to activate the tracking and see how well the intelligence tracking can actually keep the person tracked. Okay, so we got ahead to stop the tracking using that hand signal. And now I'm gonna get someone else to pick up. So this person is wearing slightly different colors and I walked straight in front of the camera after she had been picked up on the tracking, and you can see straight away it lost her. That is one thing you need to be a little bit aware of. She came back, she stopped the tracking and she started it again and it did continue to track her. So that's one of the things that if you have the tracking set for hand gestures, other people can take control of the tracking in that situation. So now we're going to test to see how well it tracks in terms of speed wise. So I've got my friend here and he's going to do some moves for us. Being all fancy, doing some zigzagging. And as you can see, the tracking works really well. So it's picking him up and keeping him in the shot in a good position and without losing him. I'm gonna go through some of the menus so you can see exactly what you can do, what you can edit, what you can change in the settings, and that will show you exactly how great this device is and what its limitations are. First of all, let's check out the display, all the settings and all the adjustments and all the switches that you can use on the gimbal. First thing first, let's turn it on. So we have a button on the side, press and hold. And it comes to life, and as you see, the camera balances. Okay, so unlocks and it's ready to shoot straight away. Now, if you want to lock this, you can just lock it by pressing the power button once. Okay, so now it's locked. So if you're moving it around, it will stay in this position. Now, if you want to unlock it again, just press it again. If you want it to swivel back and to be locked completely and turned off, press and hold, and then it goes into that position. So let's turn it back on. Now, if you want to switch it off and lock it in this position, you could just lock it first, then press and hold to turn it off, and now it's locked in that position.
So looking at the screen right now, you can see the information in regards to the power, and you have your other settings on the screen. So first one, if we click on this here, so it's auto tune. So if you want to calibrate your gimbal, once you put a different camera on or different lens on, you can do it automatically from this. Or if you want to do some minor adjustments, you can do it by just selecting here, and then you can set it to exactly how you like it. So from this setting here, it will tell you currently how your camera is sitting in terms of its tilt or its roll. So you can see it's a little bit off right now. We have this custom button, which we'll come back to in a little bit, but let's look at the responsive. So we have the follow speed, so you can have slow, you can have medium, you can have fast, and you can have a custom one as well. If you want to go in there and create your own custom, you can do. You also have the choice between a smooth or responsive. So a smooth will enable the camera to slowly come back into place, where the responsive will be much quicker. So the end point will be smoother with this. As it comes to the end of its travel, it will slow down, but with the responsive, it'll turn really quickly to that point that you need. This is really good for if you're having real fast action shots and you are doing some sports or something like that, and you need to keep on the target, then use responsive. If it's something like filming people and you're doing a movie or clip or something like that, you probably want to use more smooth. So coming out of that, we have custom. Now custom is really interesting. So in custom, we have the switch on the side. So currently it's in FPV. So from this FPV switch, we can then either use FPV, we can do 3D roll, 360, so you can do some 360 rolls, or you can use custom, and the custom allows you to keep the camera pointing forward no matter what direction or where your hand is pointing. So in addition to that, we have the switches on the sides. So we have the first person view, we have the pan follow mode, and then we have the pan tilt follow mode. Now going back into the FPV mode, if we click in here, we can adjust it, and then we have the additional mode, which is the custom one. In custom, you can go in and you can change any of those modes. So you can have tilt, you can have tilt and roll, or you could have tilt, roll and pan, or you can turn off any of these individually to make your own custom setting. In addition to this, if we swipe to the left, once we have the active track camera active, okay, so sometimes it turns off, you just need to click the trigger to turn that back on. You have a lot more settings in here. So you have your composition. So here you have two options, so you can keep it in the current framing. So if person of interest is on the left or the right or up or down, so no matter where your person of interest is in the frame, you could track them from that specific position. Now, if you want to automatically set that person to the middle and the center of the frame, you can select center tracking object. Okay, it says object, but you only can track people. So coming out of that, we've got the active track speed. So you can change that if you want it more responsive to the way that person is moving around. You get the option. You get slow, medium, and fast. Now we have the ring light here. So if you want the ring light to be on, you can leave it on, or you can turn it off. Now this might be beneficial to anybody that's actually, on the other side of the camera, rather than them seeing this red or green light. You might want to turn it off, but on the back of the active track camera, it will still show that color, so you know exactly if it's tracking or if it's not tracking. And last but not least, we have the gesture settings. So if we click on that, so you could start and stop tracking with the hand, with the OK sign, or with the peace sign. Or if you want, you can turn it off. The benefits of turning that off is that the person that you are recording can't accidentally start or stop the tracking. Now I think this is very beneficial because when people are talking and sometimes they're using hands or fingers a lot, this can automatically stop the tracking from working. So if you are the one that's setting the tracking, then nothing is going to stop that. So the next setting we have is a start and stop capture. So you can use the gestures of the peace sign, the OK, or the hand again, or if you want, you can turn it off. Now this goes for starting to record a video or even just taking a photo. So some more settings swiping down from the top. Okay, so you have the option to turn on the Bluetooth, so you can connect to your camera or your phone via Bluetooth. So then you can use these buttons here independently to start recording or to change any of the focusing with the M button. You also have the display, so you can set anything with the display. So after 30 seconds, you could have it that the camera goes into lock.
Okay, you can change the brightness. At the moment it's at 50%, so we can throw it up to 100%. Then you have the option to turn on and off silent mode, so when the gimbal turns on, sometimes you might get the audible notification, but if you want a quiet setting or quiet set and you don't want the gimbal to be making any sounds, you can just put that on silent. We have more settings in here, so we can disable the selfie mode, or we can turn selfie mode on. Okay, we can orbit follow, so you can go 360 degrees around the gimbal while it's in a stationary position. We can have auto lock, and we can choose on and off, so you can have it to on and off, recenter and lock, or we can fold and lock, or none. So I like to leave it there, fold and lock. And we also have sleep mode, so sleep mode will put it in the center and lock, or you can have none. So moving on to the push mode, both of them are turned on right now. So if I wanted to pan, I can physically just pan the gimbal as I want. If I turn these off, okay, let's recenter this, and I try and pan it, it will go back into position. If I try and tilt it, it'll go back into position. But if I just chose one, so pan is going to go back, but tilt is going to allow me. So you have the ability to adjust the pan and tilt of the gimbal setting. So then we get the horizon calibration, so we can go into there. Okay, so we can calibrate right now. Okay, so it's making sure that the gimbal is calibrated. It doesn't give you an option to start or stop. It will just do its process. Okay, so now that is calibrated. You can go in and fine tune it for yourself if you need to, but everything seems to be okay on that. Let's go into gimbal auto check. So make sure your gimbal is balanced and hold stationary before starting auto check. So let's check this. So now it's just going through a check and just making sure everything is as it should. Okay, and it tells you the status. So we have the auto on and off. Okay, we can go in and we can restore the parameters to what it was when you first got it from the store. You have the language, you got the device info, you have the firmware version number, and then you have the compliance information. Okay, sliding up from the bottom, we have some more settings. So you got the joystick speed, so you can change the joystick speed from here. So you can go slow, medium, fast, and you can set a custom in there so that So you can also go into the smoothness. Now the speed is how fast it moves. So if we went to fast, okay, and then we have the joystick smoothness. If we put it to low, okay, so when I turn it, it's going to be very rigid when it finishes its movement. Whereas if I put it on high smoothness, as you can see, it turns and it slows down to its position. So then we have dial functions. So this dial relates to the dial that's at the front of the camera. Now you can change it to many different things that you might want it to do. So you have the drive. So if you have a power zoom lens, you can set this up with your camera. So when it's Bluetooth connected to your camera, you can use this. And from the left side, we have the switch here. So if we have power zoom, we can power zoom in and out from here using the joystick. Okay, and then we can switch it back to the joystick for the gimbal itself. You could also change your ISO from there. You could do your aperture, you could do your shutter speed, you could do your roll. Okay, you could do your pan, or you could do your tilt. Coming out of there, and the last one is dial settings again. So you got the dial speed. So how quickly you want that to be. So if we turn that 100% and we went back into the function, let's do it as pan. Okay, go back in here, set this to 100%, come out of here, and then the speed in which it will pan, or you could turn it down, which will pan. And now the speed in which will pan is much slower. Okay, you can also reverse the dial like this, or for it to follow the direction. So if you've made it this far in the video, obviously you're going to be wondering what are the pros and the cons. So let's start with the pros first, and then we'll jump into the cons. So first things first is the AI powered module right here. And I'm going to say this is a really great introduction, and it's going to allow you to do so many things. And I know DJI will be upgrading this over time to give you more flexibility and options of what you can actually track. Right now you can only track humans, but I'm sure at some point this is going to upgrade to something which is going to be incredible. So second thing would be the compact and lightweight design. Now this is only 890 grams. So once you put your camera on it, you're not really adding that much into what you're going to carry in your hand. It can get a bit heavy at times, but just carrying your normal camera in one hand is going to be heavy anyway. But if you have a smaller camera, you're not going to feel that much difference between this and something like a GorillaPod. And the third thing is the extended battery life. And I'm going to say extended because compared to the RS3, there's a few more hours that this can output. So you can get 13 hours of operation of this from a full charge. Now, if the battery dies, then you can charge this within 30 minutes and get 5 hours of use. And on top of that, it's got a quick charging capacity. So within an hour and 50 minutes, you can get a full charge ready for your shoot. Pro number 4 is the versatile capabilities. Now this supports mirrorless cameras and smartphones. So you have the option to have an additional smartphone holder, which I don't have right now. But the fact that you can use a full frame camera on this, and then you can switch it out and use your mobile phone if you're doing any vlogging, if you're doing anything for Instagram or anything like that, you want to post really quickly, you can put your phone on this and just keep working. So pro number 5 is the fact that this can change from vertical to horizontal. So you could do those shots for Instagram, but then you could easily switch into your landscape and back and forth as the day goes by. And you're still going to get the same level of quality. Whereas before you would have had to crop the screen to fit something onto a social media platform. So those are the 5 pros. I'm going to go into 5 cons right now. So the limited payload capacity. So if, like I said before, if you want to rig this up and put a load of gear on top of your camera, you're only going to get a 2 kilogram payload possible on here. So if you are a professional that likes to add all kinds of gadgets and gizmos to this probably isn't going to be for you. Moving on to con number 2, which is we don't have a removable battery. On the RS4 and the RS4 Pro, you have the battery handle, which you could swap out, but on here, you just got an internal, so you're kind of stuck with making sure you charge, but you can charge it at the same time when you're using it. So, you know, there's some pros and cons in that too. So con number 3 is the fact that you're kind of limited. Once you get this is what you're stuck with. You're not going to be able to add any additional accessories that are in the ecosystem. So what you buy is what you get. Now, con number 4 is kind of a mixed bag, I think right now, because you can only get this in one color, which is this light gray. So it does take away from that black professional tools, which we're used to using, but I think it does make you stand out a little bit more. I actually really like it, but I think DJI should have given us the option to have a darker colored frame. Now, con number 5 comes to this. So there is no visuals for the intelligent AI tracking camera module right here. So you can't actually see what it's seeing on your screen. So you can't select specific objects or specific subjects, unlike the DJI Osmo Mobile 7P, which you can use your mobile device to interact with the module that you get with it. This doesn't actually do that. Hopefully DJI will update this at some point and allow us to have some external viewing from what this actually sees. But for now, we're kind of stuck with what we've got. You can make the most of it if you be creative and you understand how the module is working. You shouldn't have any issues, but maybe, just maybe, DJI might bring us something new to update this with. And I'm just gonna add one more thing to this. DJI, why didn't you give us a nice case for this? You give us a case for all these other devices, but not for this one. And you can't buy one that I've seen so far. So that's why I give it a little bit of thumbs down on that. It would be nice to have a case that you can carry this in and just pull it out when you need to. So in conclusion, I think this is a great, really great device. It's been currently sold at a great price point, and the fact that you could purchase it without the AI tracking camera, I think is a good thing, because some people might not want this. To be honest, I don't know why you wouldn't want to pay the extra for this, but you have those options there. Now, it's easy to move around and use. It's compact and light enough, and as you've seen in the video, you can actually put it in the compartment where you actually put your laptop, so I think that's really good. I think overall, DJI have done a great job, and I know I'm going to get many hours of use with this doing professional shoots, but also doing my own personal stuff. So at the end of the day, I like to give marks out of 10. I'm going to give this an 8 out of 10. For two reasons. One reason, we don't get an option of different colors, and the second reason is we don't have any visual output from the module. So hopefully if they upgrade that, it will be a 9 out of 10, and if they change the color, it's going to be a 10. So thanks for sticking around and checking out the review. I hope you got a whole load from this, and it helps you to make a decision as to if you're going to purchase this or purchase the RS or the RS4 Pro. But for now, I'd like to thank you in advance for subscribing, liking, and hitting that notification bell. And if you're going to purchase it, make sure you use the link in the description, and I will see you in the next video. So for now, peace.